What happens when betrayal isn't the end, but the beginning of something darker? Violet gave her heart to the wrong man. She was supposed to be the Luna, the queen beside her alpha. But when lies, lust, and a mark of rejection shattered everything she believed in, she didn't crumble. She made a choice. One night, one stranger, one forbidden escape that tasted like revenge and felt like power. But in a world where dominance and duty collide with desire, will her rebellion cost her everything? This isn't just a love triangle, it's a war of the soul. And Violet? She's done playing nice. Headphone, keep listening to discover the story behind the scandal. Violet. The thought of seeing Lucas' horrified and jealous face with Nora at his side flashed through my mind. The tension tightening through me snapped. I cried out, damn sure that someone had heard it. The door slid open to an empty hall, and I slumped back in relief, trembling. The doors finally started to close when he drew back with a low, pleased sound. I was dazed, trembling as the aftershocks rattled through me. You taste so much better than I'd imagined. I laughed, unable to do much else and trying to get a hold of myself. I felt giddy. He grinned, standing up and lifting me back into his arms. The elevator dinged again. Here's our floor. Theo practically carried me down the hall with his hand on my ass. As soon as the door opened and closed, I felt a shift in him. He unzipped my dress, unhooked my bra, and had me stumbling back toward the bed in a matter of seconds. I reached for my shoes, but he stopped me. Leave them on. Then he turned me around and bent me over the bed. My face heated at the position. I heard the rustle of clothing being stripped off and tossed behind me before he pressed up against me. The naked heat of his cock pressed between my thighs. I shuddered, clenching my thighs around him. The sound of his cock gliding against me was too much. I was so sensitive, but I wanted more. Wait. Condom. Don't insult me, he said, his voice amused. I heard the crinkle of wrapping paper. I'm not nearly as much of an asshole as most think. He pulled away for a moment, hissed, and then he was back, thrusting between my thighs. I saw the empty wrapper flutter to the bed. He pushed on my back until my face was on the bed, my ass in the air, completely exposed. Though the thought of sending you back to your husband full of my cum is more than a little appealing. I gasped. His grip tightened as he started to push into me at a slow, unrelenting pace. My legs trembled. My mind went hazy with the sensation. When our hips met, he let out a soft sound of satisfaction. You're perfect. I shuddered, biting my lip and trying not to get swept up in the rush of emotion that swept through me at the words. He thrust into me hard, driving me over the edge over and over again. The pain I'd felt earlier seemed like a bad dream. I couldn't think. I couldn't do anything but hold on and give in. He turned my head to kiss me, drinking in every pant and moan. My head was a mess. All I could taste was him. All I could feel was the hot throb of his cock inside me. The scent of our mingled sweat and sex filled my nose like a drug and I basked in it, wondering if there was enough cash in the dark moon accounts to pay a man of his skill. When I woke up, I was alone. I could hear him in the shower and smiled at the pleasant ache still thrumming through me. My phone chimed on the bedside table. I answered it. Alpha Violet, are you still at Midnight Park? I blinked, recognizing Kincaid's voice. I am. You sound upset. After last night? He growled. I'm beyond upset. Where are you? No, I said. I'll meet you in the lobby. I need you to work on getting my things out of my room and making separate arrangements from Lucas for me. I don't care if it's at Midnight Park or across the street. As you wish. He hung up, and I looked down at the mark on my wrist. The ache was still distant. I felt lighter than I had the night before. Maybe all the mythos around what the mark would do wasn't exactly true. I sighed and climbed out of bed. He'd moved my clothes to a chair nearby, so I slipped back into them, tucking my underwear in my clutch rather than putting them on. I counted through the bills I had and figured I should leave it all. It wasn't enough, but it was all the cash I had. I gasped as he came up behind me, wrapping his arms around me and pulling me back against him. He slipped his hand into the slit of my dress, aiming for my inner thighs. Leaving already? I gasped and pushed my hips pushed against his hand. His fingers were clever and too knowledgeable. If I wasn't careful, he'd convince me to crawl back in bed with him. even if that meant I was going to be late. I cleared my throat and pushed at his arm. I really wish I could stay, but I have fires to put out. I turned, nodding to the stack of cash and the wedding ring on the nightstand. The money will certainly cover the hotel room and well, consider the ring a tip. It's real. You're really a pro bar none. How gracious of you. He turned back, scooping the cash off the table, placing the stack of cash in my hand. Tip the hotel staff. I'm not a cock for hire. I blinked. But nothing like a bit of fantasy to get anyone going, I whispered. I enjoyed you immensely. He dipped his head to graze our lips together. How about a kiss for the road? He nipped me. Something to think about while you're putting out fires? I shuddered, but I didn't resist when he licked into my mouth and pressed our lips together. I melted, pushing up against him, twining my arms around his neck and my hands in his hair. He groaned and backed me up against the door, grinding against me as we kissed. I felt his towel slip off and hooked my leg around his waist. The hard length of his cock pressed against me, teasing me. It would take just the smallest adjustment to have him inside me again. I wanted it. He groaned, gripping my hips and starting to lift me. Then my phone rang. I jerked back. I really have to go. Then an idea began to grow in my mind. If you're not a man for hire, then you must be here for the gathering, right? Why? Need a date? No, but I'd like one. You, if you're not otherwise occupied. He grinned. I'm not. You've got a number, I nodded, pulled out a small pad of paper, and scribbled my number before handing it to him. We could meet in the lobby? Sure thing. He swept his gaze over me. I look forward to it. He opened the door for her, and with one last lingering look, I left. I took the quickest path back to the hotel room I had been sharing with Lucas. I could hear Kincaid and Lucas arguing inside. By order of the I am the alpha. You listen to me. Where is she? I shook my head and opened the door. Lucas was half-dressed in just a towel. I could see the marks on his chest. The fact that he hadn't even thought to put a robe on was telling. He whirled on me. I noted that he didn't have the mark of the unwanted on him, and couldn't help but smile. The goddess was oddly cruel, wasn't she? I should be angry. But the pleasant ache between my legs and the feeling of how slick I still was made it hard to be upset. He'd spent his night rekindling his relationship with Nora, and I had gone to get fulfillment. Shouldn't we both be happy? Where the hell have you been all night? Lucas asked, glaring at me. You're wearing the same thing. I glanced over at him, and then back toward the door of the bedroom. We'd gotten a suite so I could have some office space, but I could see that he was using it to hide Nora, but not very well. Her dress from the night before was on the ground. I didn't smell Nora in the room. Either my senses were dulled from the rejection, or she was hiding in the bathroom. I found I didn't care either way. I glanced over at the two Twining River guards and the Twining River's beta, and then I turned to Kincaid, who looked about ready to smash Lucas' face in. If you could finish up here, Kincaid? I'd like to relax before lunch. Do you have my new key? Yes, he said, offering me the card. I tucked it into my clutch. I'll have the rest of your things moved at once. You're not. I turned to leave, and Lucas darted in front of me. He snarled and grabbed my arm, gripping it tightly. You aren't going anywhere.